Hey there guys, and welcome back to Alex Invest. Today I've got a very interesting video for you guys. I'm going to go over 3 new stocks which I just purchased this morning. So we're going to start right here with this one. And so this is FLT, it's a Drone Delivery Canada Corp, that's what the company's called, right? And essentially, they're in the drone delivery space, and why I like this one so much is, first of all, we can see kind of in the chart where we've been going here too, and I do see us continuing here, but there's sort of a bigger reason than just the chart here that I think this one's going to be big. And part of the reason is that Cathie Wood actually endorsed this as well, just the drone delivery space in general, right? So we're going to go through that here really quickly. And, we can kind of see, this is on the ARK Invest website, right? We got ARK Invest right here. And although this isn't by Cathie Wood, she has done a presentation on, drone delivery and where it's headed. And this article by Tasha Keeney here, who works for ARK Invest, Cathie Wood kind of reiterated here what Tasha said on March 13th. In fact, the numbers actually got a little bit better even. So let's just go through this a bit here. So first of all, we have this graph right here that I wanted to show you guys, right? And we can see, by 2030, 35% of e-commerce will be drone delivered, and 25% won't be drone delivered, right? And that's in 2030 though. But in 2024, we're already going to have 6%, which doesn't seem like a lot, right? You think, okay, well, that's really not nothing. But, when we go down here, to this one, we can see parcel delivery revenue in billions of dollars. And, in the world, that's 113 billion. And actually, the latest sort of presentation that Cathie Wood did, this number went up to 114 billion. So, it doesn't seem like a big increase, but it's still an increase of $1 billion, right, guys? So keep that in mind. And, this is where we are in 2024 as well. That's the black one, right? And we can see, China right now is kind of the biggest for drone delivery. And yes, we're going to run into some problems with this, of course. We have legislation here and what's legally allowed, because a lot of the time right now, we kind of run into this issue of, are we allowed to fly drones? Where are we allowed to fly drones, right? And all of this, but I don't see that being too much of a problem because these are going to be companies doing this, right? So they're going to have these permissions and stuff, right, to be able to fly these drones where they need to be able to deliver these packages, right? And remember, this is just parcel delivery here, right? So, and although Cathie Wood does say parcel delivery will be the biggest aspect of sort of this drone space here, but, in general here, we can see where we're going and it's to the upside, right? And so this one, again, it's going to be a longer term hold for me, right? And, as far as I know, I don't think Cathie has invested in FLT.V, or the US ticker and the OTC markets is Takeoff, TAKOF, right? So that's the US ticker, but we're looking at the Canadian version. That's the one that I bought, right? Because of course I'm in Canada and I'd rather buy it in Canadian dollars. So here again, we can see the sort of the legislation we've run into a bit in the US, right? We have 0 revenues right now from it, and but we're just going to keep expanding here in the space, and this is where we're going, right? And we could go more than this. This is just sort of their expectations, right, for 2030. And we can kind of see here, this is sort of the other aspect of these drones, right? And it's mapping revenue, which is, mapping out, I mean, it's in the name, right? And parcel drone sales, right? So this is the actual sales of the drones, right? And again, in billions of dollars. So, again, we're going to go up here, and at the price, we're only at, for FLT here, we're only at, the $2.1 price right now. I bought this one at 2.2 actually. And again, longer term hold for me. I'm going to be holding this one into the future. And we've got, again, a bit of a, falling wedge here. So again, another pretty bullish sign here on this stock, and I think short term and obviously longer term, that's when I really see this one doing well. So watch out for this one. Now, the next one we're going to go over here is AAZ, and this one is in the uranium space, right? Azincourt Energy, that's what this one's called, and they're still small, but they have some big news coming out soon, and that's kind of why we're seeing this big run here. That, and there's a big craze going on in uranium right now. Everyone's picking up uranium. Everyone thinks there's going to be a short squeeze in uranium. Everyone thinks this is going to be our next big thing, and I kind of agree, and there's a few reasons why I agree here. Maybe not with the short squeeze aspect, that one, it's a little harder to determine, and that's also not the reason why I bought this one. But we're going to go over some of the reasons why I did buy this one, right? And obviously the chart, I mean, we're going straight up here, right? So you have to, believe in this one if you are investing. But I do. I picked up this one this morning at 0.14, and we're at 0.15. But let's get back to this digging news for a second here, right? They have actually sort of a new site set up here, and supposedly on Twitter, for example, they say that their news is going to be really good for this, and so I think we do have a lot of upside potential left in this stock. In the short term, because this news is supposedly kind of come out by the end of the week, but also in the long term, because uranium is pretty clean energy. If you can sort of look away from what happens when something goes wrong and there's sort of this catastrophic event that goes on, then other than that, the energy that you get from this is, first of all, you get a lot of energy, and it's all really clean energy, other than, again, from the fact that if something goes wrong, then it's quite catastrophic. But there's been so many advances in this space as well, right? And so it's so much rarer that something goes wrong, and we do have a lot of nuclear plants out there in the world, and I think a lot of people only hear about the bad aspects of that, and they don't really hear about any of the good aspects, like how much energy it produces, and how that energy is actually clean energy. It doesn't produce any CO2 or anything like this. So when a bad event happens, it's all over the news. But when a nuclear plant is doing well, you don't hear that on the news, obviously, right? Because it's not interesting. The news won't get any hits on that or whatever, right? But there's a few other things I wanted to mention here with you guys, right? And the first one is Michael Burry is in uranium, and he is actually endorsing this. And what's interesting, actually, let me just go back here for a second. What's interesting about that is he actually bought GameStop as well, and made a couple $2 billion on that. I think he put in like $270 million in GameStop when it was back at like $4, right? And he rode that all the way up to the top and then sold. The guy is a smart man. That's the same guy who back in 2008 predicted that the whole market would crash, and he's made some insane trades throughout his life, and it continues to make these amazing trades. So that's part of the reason why I also bought this uranium company, right? AAZ. Now, he didn't buy this uranium company. He just believes in the uranium space in general, and it has shares in, I believe, the commodity of uranium, and also a few stocks as well, although I'm not exactly sure on that. But there's a few other things I wanted to show you guys, and the first one is kind of this right here, right? This is the Globalx Uranium Etf, right? And if we go out to the monthly, this is the all-time, right? We can actually zoom in a bit here. There we go. So this is the all-time here, and we can see this is where we started back in 2011, right? And we just had this big kind of continuous downtrend here. But see what's happening now is it seems like there's been a bit of a reversal here now, right back into the upside. And remember, this isn't a stock, this is the uranium ETF, right? Globalx Uranium Etf. We can see that right here, right? And URA, by the way, if you guys want to look it up, again, the technology's gotten better, and we're in this reversal here now, right? And moving up again to the positive here. So what I could see happening is us kind of continuing back up on this uptrend. And we've broken through quite a few resistance levels here already. So I could see us definitely continuing here onto the upside. it for uranium in general, right? And as uranium goes up, all of our uranium stocks are going to go up because because uranium is becoming more expensive. And then here's the other thing that's very, very important about this, right? As we see more inflation coming back into the economy, right? And as we kind of see more energy demand here coming back, right? As, the economy starts to recover here and we start to see people, moving around the world and all this again, right? We're going to see uranium and our other sort of energies here, especially our alternative energies, go up in value. And I've talked about this before in a lot of my videos, right, guys? And not specifically as for energy, but for hydrogen, I've mentioned this a lot, whereas, energy in general becomes more expensive as gas becomes more expensive again, right? Our hydrogen also becomes more expensive because it's an alternative energy to gas. So, once gas moves up in value, that automatically makes hydrogen come up in value. It makes solar come up in value, right? And that's what I'm seeing for uranium here as well. Again, as energy demand again increases and, supply stays the same, what happens? Price goes up. Basic economics, right, guys? So that's what I see. And going back to that inflation aspect of it again, right? This is very interesting, right? Because inflation right now is very, very low. And part of the reason it is so low is because of something called velocity of money. And if you guys don't know what that is, I'll explain it to you quickly. Basically, what it is the velocity of money. It determines how many times a dollar will travel through the economy before it's put into a savings account or invested, right? And right now we're hanging at around 4 for that. So basically every dollar that circulates through the economy goes through the economy or goes through 4 people before it's put into a savings account or investment account. So think goes from one company to an individual, to the supermarket, to another individual, and then into a savings account, let's say. So that's 4 times, right? And usually that number is higher. Usually it's at around 8. So once we see that number come up with all this stimulus, with all this extra money that we have now, right? We're going to see inflation move at a drastic rate to the upside, guys. So I think what's going to happen is when we see this vaccine rollout, and when we see everything get back to normal, the velocity of money is going to come back up. We're going to see inflation come back up. And at the end of the day, that's going to make solar energy more expensive. It's going to make hydrogen energy more expensive, and it's going to make uranium more expensive. And that again also goes along with that energy demand, which is increasing again. And because again, the economy is going more, there's more circulation again, right? And that again pushes the velocity of money up. So they're kind of correlated here, these two things, right? And there is one more thing I wanted to share with you guys about uranium, and that is this right here. And we'll go to the top here for a second, right? Elon Musk says EVs will double world's need for electricity. And again, what does this go into? It goes into our demand for energy again here, right? And that's what's important here. But there's a few interesting lines that I highlighted here for you guys that I wanted you to read. And that's Musk said sourcing the energy for necessary to power EVs would become the biggest obstacle, right? So basically what he's saying here is there isn't enough, energy demand right now to keep up with EVs, first of all. And because of that, in general, there won't be enough energy demand as a whole if we don't have enough energy demand for just EVs here, right? But there's a few other things, and it's this. Musk says it will take another 20 years for cars to be fully electric, right? That's right here. It is like with phones. You cannot replace them all at once. So that's first. We need sustainable energy. If something goes wrong, we don't stop producing CO2 and still need to transition ourselves towards a sustainable energy production. And Musk also notes, right, that's right here, Musk also notes to his German audience that he did not oppose nuclear energy and went so far as to suggest it might even be necessary if we're to meet tomorrow's need for electricity, which he said would double by 2040. Now, again, this goes into energy demand, right? And with energy demand, again, that's going to increase the price of all these energies again, right? And again, it's clean energy and double by 2040. So very, very interesting stuff. There's a lot there, I get it, but you know, it's all very, very important. And this is all really why I think, you know, uranium is going to be a good one to be into. That's not saying, you know, don't buy solar stocks, buy hydrogen stocks. They're all good, but have a uranium stock in there too, guys. Why not? You know, it's clean energy. People don't think about it as clean energy, but it is clean energy. So, you know, that's that one there. A lot to cover there, I know, guys, again, but, you know, really, really good stuff going on there. And, you know, even as I was talking here, we're back up at 0.16. You know, I do see this one moving much, much, much higher from here with, again, their digging news coming out soon here too is going to be big. Now, on to the last stock right here, SOS. I'm sure you guys have heard of this one. It has been exploding on the internet. And, you know, I said I have a little extra cash left, you know, and I don't like having cash right on the sides, especially in a market like this. Everything's going up, 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 up. You don't want to have too much cash on the sides. Sure, I have like maybe, you know, a little bit on the side, you know, just in case there's a red day, I can add more shares to some of these stocks. But generally, I like to have very little amount of cash sitting on the sidelines at this time, just because of the market we're in, right? And so I picked up this one this morning right here, right? And this is a Bitcoin play. You know, they're in that blockchain business, right? And I see this one doing really well. Again, we can compare it to another one, Riot. I'm sure you've heard of this one as well, Riot blockchain, right? And, you know, yeah, on the monthly chart, I mean, you know, that's where they were at one point, but, you know, again, that's dilution, etc. as well. Let's go to the 5-minute here, though. And actually, let's go to the 30-minute and zoom out here. Look at this, guys. Look at this. This is the beginning of 2021 here. And, you know, that's 300% right there. SOS is similar to that. You know, as a company, they're very similar, and they have similar kind of stats, things they're doing. SOS, obviously, less revenue, etc. But, you know, again, we see where this one's going, and that's why I said, you know, everyone's talking about this one. Let's just buy some in the morning. I did. I'm up on it already. I was up a lot on it, you know, this morning. We've come back down a bit now. And what's interesting, again, to note here is we bounced off this 120 MA, and that is big, right? We bounce right off of it. Price bounces right off. I think this one, we're just going to keep going up on the upside here as well on the day, on the week, and on the month. I think we're going to do very, very well on this one and moving forward from there. So that's the last one. I didn't want to go through this one too much, but it is the last one I bought this morning. So guys, that is going to be the video for today. I hope you liked it. A lot to cover here. Yes. You know, the first two were my main two picks, the FLT, the drone pick, and the uranium stock, AAZ, right? Those are the two that I was already planning on buying over the weekend here. And SOS was just one that I said, a little bit of a YOLO. I just went, you know, I'm just going to buy some shares here as well. So that's going to be it for you guys today. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment as always. I really, really appreciate it. Other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.